Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway Series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Liv.
And we hope you enjoy the show.
German 985, the Red Engine, did not see the Fat Controller for several days.
Above him stood a large grabber.
Next game! Chortled the grabber. Germa, the Red Engine, looked around. He saw nothing. Yeah, let me pull up Yakuza, he replied.
Okay, but if fucking if this book was just like Yakuza Like a Dragon or whatever, but with James, it would be infinitely better.
Isn't that game's title basically just Yakuza?
Well, so yeah, pretty much because the title of the Yakuza series in Japan already translates to Like a Dragon. But when they localized the game for the first time, they did just call it Yakuza. God knows why, but...
Please tell me that in Japan it's just called Yakuza.
I mean, to be fair, there's like a fucking Mega Man powered up in Japan is just called Rockman. Well, hello and welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we just talk, and occasionally it's about stories in the Railway series. I am Jamie, your hostess with the mostest, pronouns she, her. These are my good friends and co-hosts.
I'm Marina, she, her. I'm your local TV series bitch.
I'm Liv, she, her. I'm the British one. Pip, pip, cheerio, tally ho, and all that.
And I'm Andrew, they, them, and this week I've finally decided what kind of bitch I am, nearly fulfilling my character arc for this book. Perhaps a better one than James's. I have become the Playrail addict bitch.
Oh yeah, that's a good
lucky
bitch to be.
With those.
Enable the streamer.
God, I wish I could enable myself to buy more Playrail. But unfortunately, I'm in Beyblade hell because Karatomi has decided to continue the series for another year.
Beyblade. More like Gayblade.
Yeah.
Could not be me.
Anyway, today, we're doing the third story in James the Red Engine. Very cleverly titled Troublesome Trucks.
It's a fun story. I did notes for James in the Express for this episode because I forgot this story existed, and I didn't realize until Liv pointed it out to me on stream that was the one we were doing today.
I mean, to be fair, if you grew up only having Best of James, it only has James and the Coaches and James and the Express on that one. So if you never had, say, Thomas and His Friends Help Out or any of those other wonderful DVDs, that's all you'd know.
I had James Learns a Lesson, which has all three stories from this book.
Oh, well, you have no excuse then.
Okay, so like,
that's just unfortunate.
I almost didn't actually say anything on the podcast because I only brought it up because I was like, man, I haven't actually read the story yet. I should probably do that. And then Mari just almost like frantically goes, "Wait, we're doing Troublesome Trucks?"
So I guess I thought we had already done it and then like forgot it, and yeah.
This has been a weird book. It's like
it really has been. It's very strange. It's
bad.
Like, I I mean, if you want to be right, then yeah. But
This is the thing, right? We had so little to say last episode, we went full chaos.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem mostly is just that, like, Audrey's still getting his grips, which makes it even weirder that the last book and the next one are just so fucking good, and yet, honestly, the rest of the first 6 books are all kind of, like, varying quantities of mid.
See, I think it's just because Thomas himself is so inherently amazing of a character that he just carries the books.
Yeah.
Part of me doesn't want that to be the case, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason they chose him to be the main character, essentially.
God, what's
it's
the fucking
like,
wording on that? What's that one fucking tweet Hayden made? Like, fucking, you need me more than I need you. What are you gonna do? Change the channel?
Oh, yeah.
Watch Chuggington instead? You couldn't.
Shit,
I
Toby
know
was
you wouldn't.
introduced in the 7th book. I never realized that.
Well, yeah, he's number 7.
It's cute.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. That's also after the, like, you know, the big, like, unsaid time skip, but that's a discussion for another day, I suppose. Today we're
story
supposed to
for
be
another day.
It always comes back to stories of Sodor. Why are we like this?
We can never truly escape him.
You tell me, Bergie, you tell me.
Fucking stories of Sodor, stories of Sodor diagnosis in the episode was
Mari,
pretty
you made
dark.
this joke
said
like
that
5
last
times.
time.
I know, I'm going to keep doing it. Someone needs to acknowledge my insanity.
I think we do that on a daily basis.
Personally, I prefer Adam Goes to Heaven Trains remake.
Oh, yeah.
Thing?
Yeah, that... Did you know that that's just straight up an actual ass video that somebody made?
Did it come before or after diagnosis?
It came after diagnosis. It
Okay,
was,
good,
It was in
because
the
for a
way,
second I was really worried that Victor Tanzig, like, did that thing he did with his video about Murdoch where he just saw someone else make a video with a character and then was just like, hey, this is really good, you mind if I steal it?
James, we're married.
Speaking of James, this book's supposed to be about him.
This week, he deals with the troublesome trucks.
Yes.
I
Would
Let's
like to start the story.
just before we do, I really thought Andrew was going to say this week he deals with seasonal depression.
This week, he deals with both seasonal depression and troublesome trucks. Something which we are about to see right now.
Let's go.
James did not see the Fat Controller for several days. They left James alone in the shed and did not even allow him to go out and push coaches and trucks in the yard. Oh dear, he thought sadly. I'll never be allowed out anymore. I'll just have to stay in this shed for always and no one will ever see my red coat again. And oh dear, oh dear. James began to cry.
Aww. Poor baby. Well, you know, this is it's a step up from leaving you in the tunnel, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at least it's like a go to your room thing and not like a...
Cask of Amontillado situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is the shed so long?
Dalby.
Is that supposed to be Edward in the background?
I think
I don't
so.
know.
Or is it
Yeah.
98462? Going to
I don't
blow
know.
up goddamn stations.
Hey, well, it's a 440. It looks like, so I think it is meant to be Edward.
Yeah, the cab's weird.
Yeah.
Also, like, what is with the doors here?
I like how the door is just straight up obscuring James. Like, or rather, one of the doors is there to just sort of make it look as if the rest of James isn't there. Like,
It's
They-
so
they
Dalby
co-
doesn't
they-
have to draw him.
yeah,
they
pretty
can't
much.
they can't let the they can't let the passengers in the station know that James is still on the railway.
Yeah. They're,
Can I-
they're hiding him. He's a secret.
Can I say two really stupid things?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so firstly, I don't know why, but I always found it cute, like in the TV series where they have like little like water drops like in the engine's
Yeah, I like
eyes
that
when they're
touch.
supposed to be crying. Because it's like like even if like it shouldn't be physically possible, like it's cute and I like it.
Yeah.
And
Like, yeah.
I guess they could be leaking water out of their faces.
I feel like the hydrodynamic properties of the face, or like just how they. I feel like most of the stuff regarding the face is just something Audrey didn't like care to think about.
Yeah.
You know, compared to every other thing.
I think the faces are one of the things in the world that just they don't really need explaining, and they don't really need to be like really elaborated on. The trains just have faces, and they can do things.
But don't you know they only have faces on Sodar? Anyway, the other thing, I wonder if that turntable, like, to the right of the shed inspired the, like, original wooden railway turntable, because it was, like, a brown base, gray turntable base, and then the red, like,
Huh.
thingies. I don't know why I thought of that.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that, doesn't it?
A little bit.
It's definitely got the same shape as the, like, little dividers.
I'd say that on the topic of the Rev sort of explaining how the engines can cry, I do feel like it's something that he just wouldn't care enough to think about unless somebody wrote to him about it. At which point he'd be like, "Ah, yes."
I'm just do you think that's just the only letter he never responded to?
I don't think I don't know. I have a hard time believing a child would write into Audrey asking, like, you know, why does James cry? Isn't he a train?
Yeah, no, like
It's one of those things where it's like, well, of course the trains cry. They've got faces.
Yeah, he's sad.
Yeah.
He's alone.
You know, like, us cynical adults will, like, think about it and, like, r/shower thoughts, whatever, but, like, put it in, it's a sin, whatever.
Ding.
Are you
Dang.
having a
Dude, it's a
stroke?
sin.
You okay?
That's Russell T Davies' new series.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know,
I still haven't watched that yet, actually.
His writing for Doctor Who doesn't make me angry like the season that I'm currently watching does. Still fucking hate what they did to Amy and Rory. I don't even know what's happening in, like, the fucking current seasons of Doctor Who. I am way behind.
Well, if what's happening there made you angry, then cherish it while you still can. That's all I'll say.
Oh no. Anyway,
Listen, all I'll say is that it's very frustratingly functional. Yeah.
just like this book.
I want to agree. I want to agree, but this
epic burn, but I'm not sure how accurate it is.
Yeah.
True, this book isn't functional. I'm joking, by the way.
For legal reasons, this is a joke. I don't think I have anything, like, constructive to say about this page that hasn't already been said. But because we're recording this episode some days after Toby and the Milk 2, it's just living in my head rent-free that episode, that video borrows, like, a bunch of elements from that episode, so I'm just seeing James sitting in the shed and being like, hee funny. Above him stood a large grabber.
Christ frowns upon you this day, laughed the grabber. Thee! He shrieked.
I think that's it, really.
He was told to close his mouth for several days for being a... Anyway.
Should we move on to the next page?
We shall.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Just then, along came Sir Fast Controller, the daughter of Eden, as in Eden of the East, grandmother of Mrs. Evelyn Graham Kindly, told James that he was a naughty boy. And just then, the Fat Controller came along. I see you are sorry, James. I hope now that you will be a better engine. You have given me a lot of trouble. People are laughing at my railway, and I do not like that at all. No, no. I'm very sorry, sir, said James. I will try hard to behave. That's a good engine, said the Fat Controller kindly. I want you to pull some trucks for me. Now, run along and find them. So James puffed happily away.
I like how in the narration, Johnny Morris says "at all" twice. He's like, I do not like that at all. At all.
Yeah,
he's really fucking emphasizing it.
Oh,
wait, sorry, there was a line I forgot.
sorry.
I wasn't looking in the chat.
Yeah, we'll like, edit that in.
Yeah.
Okay, first and foremost, lipstick.
Yeah, he's got it.
He got it.
He's finally
James-
got it.
Good.
James should always have it.
He really should.
It's one of the best things I've done on a model. Really, was give James lipstick.
Yeah, looks good with it.
Look, we're ignoring that this illustration introduces the most important character.
Yeah, I was gonna say the not
yeah.
Thomas tank engine is there.
It sure is a tank engine.
I always thought it was the one from Monster Under the Shed.
I
Yeah,
kind of thought the same when I was younger.
Kinda.
The reason he doesn't appear again is because he died.
I feel like it might be that, like, this tank engine might be the same unnamed tank engine who shows up to help James with his stuff later, like, in the next page.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if that's the case, then this is very neat, because you can already see him pushing the trucks for his train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also see
nice.
Edward go by with his train in the first page, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all a very good bit of sort of foreshadowing and tying things together. I would like it if the unnamed tank engine were this in the chat. Pull I think on the video,
that.
just sort of pull it up in the illustration. Yeah.
It sure is a tank engine, which will be put up on the screen now, hopefully.
There it is. Now.
If it's not there, oh well.
Yeah. You'll be left to wonder.
Damn,
So-
I completely agree that the tank engine should have been the 414-4.
I don't think I have much to say about this page either, but I do really like this illustration because it's just like that one illustration from Thomas and the Breakdown Train. It's like the illustration they used for the cover of the 98 version of James the Red Engine, which is the version that I grew up with.
See, I think this is one of the better illustrations from the book. Like, it's not
Yeah,
amazing,
definitely.
but, like, it's not, like, bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks nice. He looks happy.
See, I can see it being where they got, like, James's kind of main, like, smile face look from.
I think they probably got that from the one on the cover.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
This one kind of reminds me of, like, the other James grinning face.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the more neutral looking one.
Yeah, as opposed to just fucking, like, balls to the wall one that we're used
Yeah.
to.
I think that's what I
Is
meant.
it do you mean like the one that was like the laughing face for a second in series 2? Or,
Possibly.
hold on, no, it's in Bulldog, I think.
I don't know the official names, TM, for each of these faces.
I don't think there even are ones, so
Yeah.
it's all right. I could see it being this one. Also,
Yeah.
I think that's
Now.
the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
It even has like the little like the 3 little lines.
yeah,
Next to his
the slightly
Yeah, the
more
crow's feet.
subdued crow's feet. Yeah, yeah.
James's
Yeah.
crow's feet are very good.
They give me life.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that between this illustration and the last one, the windows in the shed have actually become windows, but at the cost of that, the turntable well has now become, like, brown.
Brown, yeah.
The turntable itself has also become significantly thinner.
Yeah.
Man, it's like Dolby's like inconsistent or something.
Mm.
I wonder if that'll have any unforeseen consequences for him later down the line.
That totally didn't cause arguments on
Unforeseen.
Twitter just today that we're recording this.
Huh?
Oh, is it fucking like
Wow.
illustration canonicity discourse or whatever?
Yeah,
Oh.
Oh, good.
Oh.
edit that part out, please.
Yeah, we're that's non-canon. That's just the word I'm gonna use
non-canon.
every time we say something that shouldn't go in the podcast. It's just non-canon. All right, with that non-canon aside done, is there anything
Yeah.
else we want to say about this page?
I'm good.
There's not really
Yeah.
too much to it, 'cause I mean this is still kind of the setup for the story.
Yeah, and I was gonna make a comment about the door, and how it opens slightly.
It's bigger, I think.
I think the thing. I mean, speaking of wider, James looks like the track makes James look like. Well, James looks standard gauge, but his wheel set looks broad gauge.
Why?
Dalby's
Perspective really
great.
does that to a motherfucker.
Wide Putin, but it's just James coming towards the screen.
Oh. I think the door is supposed to be some kind of like sliding door,
Yeah.
which is very weird because I don't know how that would
From what I
work.
if I may be
on
wrong, but I think
rails.
later in the series they just removed the doors from Tidmouth in general.
Yeah, that makes sense. They are kind of just.
It's probably part of why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it was just like James just kept hiding behind the doors because he didn't want anyone to see him? They didn't want to work, and they just moved the doors away. It's like no.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. I haven't had my coffee in the morning.
Bro, don't look.
Don't look at me. I'm just gonna cry in the corner.
I need to do my hair.
I've not put on my lipstick yet for today.
James would.
Yeah.
James, you were
he
supposed
is
to be.
that bitch.
You were supposed to be here for your train 30 minutes ago. What's going on? I can't find my right shade of lipstick.
Where's my fucking lipstick, you? Sorry.
I'd like to think that like James and Daisy both have like makeup sessions together.
Oh yeah,
But that's cute. I like
give
that.
each other tips and stuff.
that is really cute. I would enjoy that. Here are your trucks, James, said a little tank engine. Have you got some bootlaces ready? And he ran off laughing rudely. Oh, said the trucks as James backed down on them. We want a proper engine, not a red monster. James took no notice and started as soon as the guard was ready. Come along, he puffed. We won't, screamed the trucks. But James didn't care, and he pulled the screeching trucks sternly out of the yard.
I love the noises he made.
I love the face on that van. It's just
Yeah,
so,
he looks so sad.
He's goddamn miserable.
Oh god, it's the bootlace fucker.
This is the thing. Like, I imagine that like even if they don't really get along, because like the trucks and the coaches are a bit different in terms of like temperament. I feel like the coaches probably warned the trucks about James,
Yeah, probably.
and then it's spread across the whole railway, and this truck is just like, he's been around for a while. He's kind of seen it all. He's gone through the motions, and then he sees James backing down, and he's just like, okay.
His face reminds me a lot of like the fucking Sea Rogue's uncle from Tugs. Just that kind of face.
It's wrong.
It turns out the red monster line wasn't like an insult to like how he looks. Like, it wasn't a "your color's nice, James, pity about your face though" type thing. It was it's just that like they all of the rolling stock on Sodor just thinks James is a regressive piece of shit already.
Yeah, like the trucks. I like to imagine the trucks just sort of saw what happened in James and the bootlace, and were like, "Huh, you see this shit? Oh no, I don't want to be me."
Yeah.
I don't even have vacuum brakes, but he's a bit of a twat anyway, so.
This is a cunt, innit?
What was that? What was that, cunt?
Oh,
You
God.
gonna be a cunt? I'll fucking sort you.
I love that's the running gag. It's just James calling people cunts.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's this there's a Harley Quinn like cartoon show that's on HBO Max now.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the like part of it is like her trying to like make her own like villain crew and stuff, and one of the members is this Wonder Woman villain called Dr. Psycho, who like can't like has repeatedly like just gets himself like into trouble for saying cunt on like live TV. And, like at one point she's just like would like say like everything wrong with them, and she's just like, and you can't help yourself to like say like cunt, like you can't stop yourself from calling women cunts. And he's like I can't help it. It was like Wonder Woman that cunt. Oh, I get what you mean. And now it just made me imagine James.
I can't help it with the trucks being cunts.
I get what you mean, Edward.
James. I'd rather you didn't call the trucks cunts so often. That may be what they are, but that doesn't excuse it.
I really try to be patient with you, James, but you make it very difficult.
Did Thomas tell you what happened to 98462 and 87546?
He said something about him trying to blow up a goddamn station.
Or actually, wait, no, that'd be funnier if it was the fucking red engine from Dolby's version of Book 1.
The red engine was a psyop.
Oh no.
Red engine. Red engine.
So, something I noticed just like looking at this illustration is it looks an awful lot like the second illustration from Thomas and the Trucks, except
does.
it's
Yeah.
like mirrored.
I think
Yeah.
even the trucks have similar faces.
Yeah, like
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's got the van at the front with the face.
Yeah,
James
except
backing
in
down.
Thomas and the Trucks, the van's just a grumpy shit. I remember, I think once, John Welsh Engineer referred to the one in Thomas and the Trucks as the bastard van, and I
That's a good name.
kinda love that. Like, I
Well, if
really
that's the
fucking love
bastard
that.
van, this is the old man
This is-
van.
This is the miserable van, the miserable
Yeah.
cunt van, even.
Yeah.
Can I give him a name?
Sure.
I'm going to name him Arnold.
So
I do not appreciate. I can't do the scummy Arnold voice. I'm too low on water.
do we want to talk about the tank engine shaped elephant in the room?
Yes, I was actually gonna mention that, because two things. One, you can see the tank engine in the background, I think, which is cool. And also, I kind of prefer the TV series just making it Thomas, because, like, obviously it doesn't make sense at this point, because, like...
Yeah.
Like, him not being in the yard becomes, like, a major, like, plot point, like, a few books from now. But, like, I like Thomas kind of being, like, a little shit to James. And also...
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the rare times we see them actually, like, have any something approaching a meaningful interaction, because, like, for as much as, like, Thomas, like, Percy and James were, like, the marketing trio kind of thing, it was usually, like, Thomas and Percy, or, like, Percy and James that they used, and never really, like, Thomas and James. Yeah. Whereas...
Yeah.
Like, the first, like episode or, like, major role I can think of that they shared, besides, like, Tale of the Brave, which is about all three of them, is, Reds versus Blues. And it's, like...
in terms of the Railway series, I think the one that comes to my mind right now is Better Late Than Never, when James is late and Thomas is like, yeah, fuck you.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that one.
Well, you know, really, you know, James is, like, barely Jamesy in that story, but, you know, that's a dead horse to beat another day.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, it's a dead horse that's gonna take a few more dead horses to beat.
I think for it, at least for this point in the series, I think it's interesting to, like, kind of... I think it's just interesting that it is a random tank engine, because it kind of gives some interesting, like, oh, I wonder who he is, I wonder what he was like.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I have an interesting idea with regards to that. So, like,
80 engines on... Does it have something to do with there are 80 engines on the network?
Vaguely. I'm
right.
thinking earlier than that. Like,
okay.
So, you know, the Wellsworth and Sudbury Railway, as, you know, Audrey talked about in the iOS book, had, like, a fleet of, like, 4 060 tank engines that just, you know, worked there, and I'm pretty sure they survived into the Northwestern Railway grouping. So, like, this could just be one of those engines. Now, coincidentally, in, like, a modern version of, like, I think it's, like, the Railway Library story thing, like, you know, that version, like, the Jane story in that book.
The My Thomas Story Library.
Yeah, that one. So, like...
I can get that, actually.
Well, I don't know if it'll be in your version, but in, like, 2014, they republished it, and they changed the role of the tank engine in that story to Charlie, which is very strange, because Charlie should not be on Sodor at this point. But when you consider that, you know, Charlie's basis, the Manning Wardles, are, like, extremely old 060 tank engines.
Yeah, that were primarily used on light railways.
Basically what I'm getting at is, Charlie is from the Wellsworth and Sudbury Railway.
Yeah.
This is how you can make TV series characters canon.
Yeah, you know, and honestly, I can see that, and that is very viable to a point. And that point is just this illustration where I don't even know what the fuck that's supposed to fucking be, but it's...
Yeah, that's definitely not a saddle tank, but, you know...
Certainly not.
Since when are the illustrations canon in these early books, am I right?
You know what? Yeah, that is a point. But
No, but you see, Charlie is okay to add to the Railway series because he's not a girl train. I'm sorry. You can edit that out, but that's kind of what I feel like the Emily argument boils down to.
Frankly, yeah, that does feel like that sometimes. It's just... You know, one of the joys of the Railway series is that it's basically you watching Audrey's justifications for trying to put random shit on Sodor.
Yeah, I made like a whole thread about that. How basically everything in the Railway series is just Audrey saying, "I want to do this," and then figuring out a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it's
Like-
totally in the spirit of the Railway series to just come up with a bunch of bullshit as to why Emily ended up on Sodor, you know, not only just in general, but after Oliver.
Yeah.
It'd probably be
Like-
easier to do her than some, like, other shit he's tried to pull out, like Henry.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, because she's very distinct. She is, like, children wouldn't write in saying that he looks like Gordon, or that she looks like Gordon. I was thinking Henry. You know, his solution to that wouldn't be, yes, I'm going to kill this character and make them new, so that way there can be no more mistakes.
God. I hate that.
Yeah, no, like, Hayden's been tweeting a lot recently about how, he thinks that had the Rev wanted to, and indeed had there been a model of a Sterling single, out there, he'd have definitely found a way to put Emily in and make her work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had the Bloomer model on the Farquhar layout. I don't think it's that far of a stretch.
Yeah.
I think ultimately Audrey, like, he was a very talented writer who did a lot of really cool stuff with his lore, but he was ultimately just a guy who liked trains and wanted to do cool stuff with cool trains.
I may be wrong. Like, I may be
think that's
completely
something to be
wrong,
wrong.
and this may have come from, like, a fan video, so if I am, correct me. But, like, isn't the story with Barry that, like, he was left aside in a scrapyard for, like, years, specifically because the railway wanted to restore him at some point, or something?
I think that was I don't think we know anything concrete about Barry other than he was
Yeah.
probably going to be from Barry's scrapyard.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
I,
so
yeah.
that
I think
was a
pretty
fan
much
which I saw,
everything
never mind.
about Barry besides that is just fanon.
Which,
Okay,
to
never
be
mind.
to be fair, from what I know, there were steam engines in Barry's scrapyard all the way up until the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the Audrey was planning to write about Barry even earlier than the 90s, so, like, I feel like Barry should have, you know, been a concept even earlier, because, like, honestly, I feel like the Chris Audrey books kind of dropped the ball by just having it be the same type of slice of life stories as the initial Railway series, because, like, you know, after the Northwestern Railway in the very last books were like, okay, we're going to become a home for any engine who wants to, you know, not be dead.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the perfect opportunity for them to start, like, you know, bringing in more steam engines from scrapyards, essentially going a step beyond Oliver from, like, you know, taking in engines to run away to essentially resurrecting dead engines. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be an interesting angle to go down. But instead we get deep freeze, so...
God.
Yeah, it's like it's like there really were a lot of chances for Chris's books to, like, to sort of discuss, like, shit that was currently happening on the railways in real. But I don't think that those were ever really fully seized upon, and that's very disappointing.
Yeah.
They don't really. Wilbert the Forest Engine sort of almost gets there, but just doesn't have enough meat on the bones for it to, like, really push.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a shame because, like, I feel like some pretty interesting stuff was happening on, like, British railways in the 70s and 80s and stuff.
Yeah. You know, they're, like, diesel engines were starting to be withdrawn, so, like, they could have had, like, a follow-up, like, essentially a concluding arc to the whole, like, you know, rivalry between diesel and steam engines, where the diesels basically realize, oh shit, we're disposable too. Steam and diesel engines essentially realize that, you know, in this
They're not
fuck-ass world,
different.
they're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would have been great.
That's
Yeah.
something I really like about how Wardner Wester handles Diesel, the character.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Apart from giving him a name.
I
Yeah.
see, I like that everyone. I kind of like that everyone still just calls him Diesel.
I
Yeah.
think my headcanon with the whole, like, you know, diesels not having proper names thing is that maybe, like, because of, like, the mindset of, like, you know, the revolutionary diesel on the other railway, a lot of them just don't want to have a different name because, you know, they are diesel. This is you know, why would you want to be anything else? And they just use, like, the numbers to differentiate.
I may be wrong, but weren't a lot of the steam engines on like other railways and stuff usually just numbers and stuff too?
Yeah, they were usually
They
just
were.
numbers and stuff too. So that you could justify that as being like a wider, like, maybe more corporate cultural thing on the other
Yeah,
railway,
compared to
as
Sodor.
opposed to on Sodor, where every engine is important enough to have a name, except the works diesels for some reason.
It's a very small thing, and I might be inferring, but I know that it was quite common for a lot of like crews and shed staff to name the engines they were particularly attached to. So
Aw.
it might have been a thing of, and like I don't think that really continued after the diesels. So I think the engines getting names and like the diesels not really having names might have been a thing of like the railway kind of losing its attachment to the engines by the time diesels are coming in.
Yeah, and that's definitely emblematic of how steam engines essentially go out.
Yeah.
So they weren't exactly treated any better.
It's just kind of
Yeah.
like it's like there's things like the pup, like the little LNER Y8, which like the shed crew staff like named that thing and they loved it and they kept it around for as long as they possibly could, and they tried to get it repaired, but like they just wouldn't let them get the parts, and after that point they never really bothered getting attached to any of their shunters because they didn't want to, because they already lost the one they really liked.
Yeah.
Dang, that's genuinely upsetting.
Yeah. End of Steam is sad in real.
It is. It really
That's
is.
the
'Cause
plot
like,
of Kung Fu. That's the part of the plot of Kung Fu Panda. I'm pretty sure.
I was gonna say that's the plot of Conker's That's the plot of Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Ah, yes, Conker's Bad Fur Day, that game that takes place during the grouping of British railways.
No, I just meant though, like because it's like part of that. It's like the fucking dude from the first movie that Poe does like the finger hold thing on, like becomes a villain, and then after that the sensei dude that wasn't the turtle like wouldn't get attached to like any of his students or something. I saw the movie, I'm pretty sure the last time I saw that movie was in Spanish class in fucking 7th grade, so I don't remember much.
Okay,
But
I will say Kung Fu Panda is an amazing film.
It's a pretty good movie. Probably.
We're very
Yeah.
off topic, but if for some reason Jamie leaves Jamie leaves this in, everybody watch Kung Fu Panda.
I'm gonna leave this
welcome
in
back
because this was a very good tangent, honestly.
Welcome back to the Kung Fu Panda book club, where we discuss just
a junior novelization
just at
of Kung
which
Fu
point,
Panda 3.
fucking the railways were nationalized during the events of the film.
Well, since it's all in like ancient China, so I don't think railways were even a twinkle in anyone's eyes. So
Yeah, that's the joke.
there's your answer.
The noodle dream is a metaphor for boiler explosion.
They do look like spaghetti anyway.
Yeah, they're just
espe-
fucking full of spaghetti. That's all a train is.
like
Do you think that put like some tiny little metal bars into like a bowl of like boiling water and just fed James spaghetti?
Mom's spaghetti.
right, the fucking seasonal depression's in again. I need some spaghetti. and they get like an old dome, like an old dome from like an engine that's been long since binned or whatever.
Or
And
like Gordon's dome from Domeless Engines.
no, this would be
That's where
before
they kept
Domeless
it.
Engines. They did find it after all.
They just
And
didn't
you
tell
know what it's
Gordon.
for now? Lots of spaghetti.
I hope she made.
We are firmly off the rails. Like we've
Wrong
left the
book.
rails a mile back, I think.
Well, I think maybe we should call the breakdown train and get back on track.
That's a very clever segue.
was gonna
Is
say
there
it's
anything
very
else you want to say about this image?
I'm good.
Yeah, I
James is a
think-
train, and I think that's pretty cool.
There's a man there.
Yep. Moving on.
Alright. The trucks tried hard to make him give up, but he still kept on. Sometimes their brakes would slip on, and sometimes their axles would run hot. Each time they would have to stop and put the trouble right, and each time James would start again, determined not to let the trucks beat him.
Give up! Give up! You can't pull us! You can't! You can't!
Called the trucks. I can and I will! I can and I will! Puffed James, and slowly but surely he pulled them along the line.
I like this.
I really like this illustration. I once used this illustration on a project in my 9th grade art class, where we basically just had to like trace a photo of our hand and like in I think Adobe Illustrator, and just sort of put a lot of different things in the background. So I just put things I liked, and that was the illustration I went for. I ended up doing my whole face along with my hand, and I think it actually ended up like getting put in like the school art show. It's pretty cool.
So James
That's awesome.
was James just like up on a wall?
It was James and many other things.
What you doing up here?
There were like patterns and shit, and then just James and the you know the one photo of Gordon from Break Van where he's got like his big laughing face.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And he just looks high as shit. Yeah, it's that. It was that as well.
I don't know. I don't know why this made me think. That made me think of this, but in high school, one of the art classes, they would put like drawings and stuff from it like up on this one wall.
Yeah.
And for a while, like every couple weeks, there would be a new bit of like erotic furry drawings. like obviously nothing like explicit, but like very clearly meant to be like erotic furry drawings. Were
Someone's
just
really concentrating their horny energy into that art that they're making in school.
And it would always end up like on the walls. I may be wrong. I didn't fact check this. I only really saw it in the comments of like the upload on YouTube by like New Controller like 01 of the narration. But he said that he skipped specifically page 38 of this book in the narration, and I'm pretty sure it's this page. Just because, like... Okay. Yeah, so it was like, I just found that interesting that they just completely skipped this, and it's like, I guess it's because it... Like, I hate it because, like, there's an idea here of, like, James being, like, really determined to pull the chain well and stuff, but like they don't really ever capitalize on it. I think I was just spoiled by Don's story, which I like really like, because like his version of the story, by this point James has been shit on by like everyone, and he's just fucking pissed and like determined to just do it out of spite. And like it's really good.
I feel like if the first two stories had done a better job, like, you know, setting that up where, like, you know, everyone, like, we kind of see it a little bit in the last story where all the people are kind of, like, afraid of being around James. But, like, you know, if they'd done more building up to do something like that, I think it would have been a lot stronger, too, yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing with James is, I feel like normally he operates on, like, 20% effort, and then the other 80% comes out purely when he's spiting somebody.
Yeah, so like him wanting to like basically just do something like out of fucking spite just to prove that he can, like, would be like cool by this point. And like definitely would have gave this book some more character, honestly.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we're close to the end of the book, and once we get out of it, we get to Tank Engine Thomas again, which is really good.
No, sorry I keep complaining about the book. I don't mean it like that.
No, I'm not saying that for you. I'm saying that because I think we all would rather get to Tank Engine Thomas again.
A little bit, yeah. Oh.
I mean, like, I don't mind whether or not I come back for Tank Engine Thomas again. It's all down to you three, but yeah. It would be nice to discuss a better book.
Yeah.
honestly, Andrew, I'm definitely open to having you on again.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're a very good guest. It would be a pleasure to have you on for more
Thank
podcast.
you. It would be a pleasure to be on.
So I have two, well, actually three things to say. I said the first one like a couple pages ago. First one, James Lipstick, very good, very on fleek.
Yeah.
Second thing, this train looks like it's fucking 80 miles long in this illustration, and that's Dolby's fault.
The thing with like, this would make sense if it was like an American train.
Yeah, because American trains are fucking huge.
Yeah, but like, for the size that James is, you would definitely be able to see the brake van.
Yeah.
Chill American train.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, I don't know how easily you guys can see it, but there's like two trucks that are slightly bigger towards the back there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I
that.
see them.
I feel like that's where the brake van would realistically be.
I don't know. I honestly feel like the brake van should, like, you know, at most be where like the last colored truck is, like the blue one right before the tree kind of cuts it off a bit.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I think either could work, really.
Yeah.
Just whichever one isn't what we see.
I think before the tree normally, the two slightly bigger ones if you're really pushing it.
The main thing I want to talk about, though, is that, like, you know, in this section of the story, they, like, you know, they talk about all the ways the trucks are, like, you know, trying to slight James, and, like, one of the things they mention is, like, you know, one of them runs a hot axle box. And just...
Hot box?
Yeah, hot box. And, like, I don't know why, like, Audrey didn't use that as, like, you know, a sticking point in any of his other stories, because as far as I'm aware, this is the only time we actually see a truck run a hot box, and that, I feel like, would be an interesting thing to throw in to, like, you know, spice up all the ways the troublesome trucks give engines problems, but it's, like, really only a thing here.
Yeah, I don't think we ever, for the entire rest of the series, ever see a hot axle box, really.
Yeah. And, like, from a writing perspective, like, an excuse that I could come up with is just that, like, you know, in order to solve the hot axle box, you have to, like, you know, stop the train in its entirety to deal with it, so that might, you know, halt the action too much compared to, say, a runaway.
You just gotta pour tea on it. Haven't you ever seen Tetley?
Oh, of course I have.
Yeah.
It's Tetley's best of British.
Hot box?
You just gotta pour tea on it, and then you gotta leave all of it to be harassed for like 2 weeks.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Are you
Sure,
gonna
Mike.
ask what a hot box is?
Yes.
It's
So it's
okay.
just when the axle box runs hot, like there's too much friction between like the wheel and the axle box, so it just heats up. And
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I
like that.
I don't know the full thing, but it does have slightly stinky implications. Like,
Yeah, like, you know, you'll be
fire.
able to smell the smoke, maybe some burning grease from the axle box. You know, the wheel might fuse to the axle box and get stuck. You know, it's not a good thing to happen on your locomotive or rolling stock.
Yeah. Especially not your locomotive, because that fucking happened with Union of South Africa recently.
Ooh, Union of South Africa.
I don't remember which one it was. Have you guys seen the video of the A4 that tries pulling away and just rips the fucking
Yeah,
car
that's
I
on
think
the
that was
center?
Union of South Africa too.
Yeah, that was.
God,
she just
God
rips
damn.
in half
She-
the
poor
bloody
engine.
corridor connector.
She's had a very unfortunate last year of running, hasn't she? Like,
Yeah.
holy fuck. Holy
I feel like if
fuck.
you were to, like, humanize her as a real locomotive, I think she'd be, like, a very clumsy engine.
Nowhere nearly as unfortunate though as shit. What's the name of the one Boy Pacific? Is it Tangmere?
I'm not as familiar with the.
Well,
running lives
Tangmere
of the
is the name of a bully,
Pacific.
so...
Yeah. Like, God, which is the one that like continually fucks up? Fucking.
I know that like one of the fucking BR Britannias is just constantly fucking up.
There are certain engines that like they're great engines, but they have really bad luck in preservation.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
no, it is
it's
Tangmere I'm thinking of.
God, like, you know, it's just, you see stuff like that happening to, like, certain engines, but not others, and you can definitely see why people would be like, yeah, these things have separate personalities.
Or it's like fucking, there's, like, you know, Tangmere was the one that spatted, as it were, one time. And,
good old spad.
Also, love a good spad. And,
that is signal past at danger for, anyone curious.
Yeah, and,
You can say it's for Mari, it's okay.
There's footage.
You know,
of
I feel like that term
going-
is like, I feel like spad is vague enough that, like, you know, lots of people might not pick that up, so it's not just for Mari.
Yeah, but there's
I
also
didn't know
footage of
that.
it passing through Dawlish Beach with flames fucking pouring out of its cab. That's in the chat there, a screenshot from it.
Oh man.
It looks like it is on fire.
I mean, Bolead Pacific's had a problem with that.
She's just so unfortunate.
Man,
Hotbox.
steam locomotives are so fucking funny.
Oh yeah. At last they saw Gordon's Hill ahead. Look out for trouble, James, warned his driver. We'll go fast and get them up before they know it. Don't let them stop you. So James went faster, and they were soon halfway up the hill. I'm doing it, he panted. But it was hard work. Will the top never come? He thought, when with a sudden jerk it all came easier. I've done it, he puffed triumphantly.
So the first time, like when I was, first I like the thing of like James like getting to the top of the hill and then just being like, they're just like, you lost half of it and you just like shit.
I want to say I like the driver encouraging him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cute.
I think it is funny, just the difference between the TV series and book version of this is just that, like, in the TV series version, when we hear that there's a jerk, we can, like, see the half of the train running down the hill, and we already know what's happening. But in the book, you know, you don't actually see it, so it's kind of like, oh wow, James is finally doing it, and the next page it's like, nope.
Psych, bitch, you thought?
Yeah. God, James is so fucking stupid, I love him.
Dumbass.
So, something fun about this page is, Gordon's Hill. It's finally called Gordon's Hill.
Like,
I
this
think.
is the first time they like.
Yeah.
I think maybe they call it the hill where Gordon got stuck in one of the previous stories, but I don't think they ever typically call it Gordon's Hill, which is what it's called from this point on.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like that, like, all the stuff on the railway is kind of named after engines that are related to them.
Yeah, I think that's fun, you know.
Like, they don't call it the Farquhar branch line, they call it Thomas's branch line, because it's
Yeah.
Thomas's. It's like, it's
Yeah.
Edward's Station, it's Henry's Tunnel, it's Gordon's Hill.
You know,
Yeah.
James doesn't have any landmarks named after him because he's a failure.
It's Percy's multiple cataclysmic accidents that doesn't deserve to be named after anything because he's a fucking dumbass.
Percy's Chocolate Crunch. Toby's
Percy.
Shed.
Toby shit!
Duck's
That's the first thing
egg.
I could think of.
And it's like, the only exception is they don't really call the Little Western Ducks branch line much. It's just the Little Western, which I kind of prefer.
They renamed the fucking barber shop after Duck.
I can go either way, really.
Like, that would be actually very good, Mari, if they did that. I think
Okay,
that'd be great.
what if one day randomly the barber just shows up on the Little Western and says he wants retribution for the damage, and to raise the money, he forces Duck, Donald Douglas, and Oliver to start a barber's shop quartet.
And none of them can sing.
See, I was thinking that maybe, like, you know, as like an apology, they allow him to use Duck for his branding at the barbershop to, like, you know, get more customers.
Yeah, I was.
See, they do that, but they need an advert, so they force them all to dress up in a barbershop quartet and sing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, similar to Jamie, and the idea that, like, popped in my head, like, pretty much immediately was, like, if, like, the barbershop is having trouble, but, like, the story of, like, Duck crashing into it is, like, really, like, fucking famous. So they're just like, hey, wanna be our mascot? And then, like, they just fucking build, like, a duck into the wall, like, one of those, like Drayton Manor, or, like, Japan, like, statue things.
Yeah!
Okay, but that would actually be a pretty fun story.
It would be.
Like, maybe like, Duck doesn't tell the other engine because he wants it to be, like, a fun surprise, and, like, James just sees it, and he just thinks Duck just crashed into the barbershop again.
Yeah!
Duck, what happened? Speak to me!
Well, it's
Oh,
like, it's
no,
like,
he's
okay, so, like,
dead.
James
He's
sees,
dead.
like, half of Duck on a flatbed, because, like, you know, it's being carried from, like, the whoever sculpted it, you know, wherever their place is, and James is like, oh shit! He's dead!
Dying
like,
Duck.
What if, like, James fucking holds a funeral?
Yeah. And then Duck just, like,
James.
pulls in.
Hello,
It's
everyone.
like, oh god, please don't haunt me! I didn't kill you!
Well,
like I can still hear his voice! James, what the fuck you doing?
I miss him so much. James, you're an idiot.
Well, I don't anymore!
No, I said I wanted you dead, but I didn't think it would actually happen.
That's... It's just like James has like a podium up on the rails with like a microphone, and like he's in like the yard presiding over a funeral, and he's like giving Duck a eulogy.
And there's barely any engines there to listen.
He was a bit of a cunt.
And then like
Well, he
Duck
was
comes-
kind of a twat. Maybe even a
And
killed.
like Duck comes from like round back of Tidmouth from the Little Western with like a train of ballast, and he brings it into the yard, and he's just like, "Hello there, everyone. What are we all doing?"
People of Sodar, we gotta get Duck back.
But how?
We need some wheels.
We need
See,
some milk.
I think it'd be even funnier if, like, you know, all, like, a bunch of engines gave speeches, but it was like, you know, it was like James, Thomas, and Diesel.
They didn't do anyone that actually liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Oliver is in like the corner crying.
He would.
Yeah.
He would. He fucking would.
Oliver and Toad are both mourning, and like Donald is like, "Oh shit, I don't have anyone to fuck with anymore." And,
And Diesel's just like on. Oh, you go.
and
Huh?
okay, I think only Andrew will know this, but Andrew, you know, like the one fucking bit in DuckTales where like it's just they just
Yeah.
pretend Scrooge is dead, and then Golden
Yes.
God just comes in with the boom box and like
Yeah.
the fucking
Yeah, yeah.
top hat and shit. It's just that, but it's Diesel.
That's a yeah, exactly. That's a fucking Diesel will turn up. Just like, what's up, bitches? No, what's he doing back here?
I'm imagining that one fucking Superman funeral scene in the Justice League cartoon, where, like, Lex Luthor showed up, and fucking, Lois Lane just shows up and start yelling and crying at him. And that's just Oliver at Diesel.
What are you
And
doing
Diesel's just
here?
like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
I
Well.
hang on, I'm sorry. Who are you exactly?
How could you? I bet you're happy he's dead.
Well, yes, but that doesn't really mean that I know who you are. Can you please elaborate?
I don't give my name to engines like you.
Well, I would really appreciate it if you did, because I do not know who you are.
Oh, I'm Oliver.
I do not have context for why you are crying into my shoulder.
You may or may not have been right to cry into my shoulder, Paxton. We must proceed with the funeral as planned.
We're on a very elaborate tangent considering we're doing a story about fucking James and we're on Duck's funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should save this for Duck and the Diesel Engine. Let's put this bit on ice.
We'll bring it back later.
Yeah. We'll it'll be in cryogenic stasis, and then we'll...
The Duck's funeral bit is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
God.
I've done it, he puffed triumphantly. Hurrah, he thought. It's easy now. But his driver shut off steam. They've done it again, he said. We've left our tail behind. The last 10 trucks were running backwards down the hill. The coupling had snapped, but the guard was brave. Very carefully and cleverly he made them stop. Then he got out and walked down the line with his red flag. That's why it was easy, said James as he backed the other trucks carefully down. What silly things trucks are. There might have been an accident.
I like how they imply that the guard is clever for twisting a crank.
I mean, you know, given what some of the other guards on Soda World C are like, I think he's the top of the class.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's just, like, you know, there's the one in Percy and Harold that is, like, that just sort of spills his tea and is like, what the fuck?
I'm thinking of the guards that are in, like, you know, busy going backwards, or a close
Oh,
shave
yeah.
that just fucking bail at the first sign of danger.
See,
Yeah.
I will say I do really like the guard in Percy and Harold, because like as soon as he sees what's happening, he's like, oh fuck yeah, we're gonna fucking destroy this helicopter.
Yeah, that is true. Fucking go to it, Percy! Ahar!
Why is he salty?
I'm salty,
Well, he's
the
either- well,
dockyard
he's either-
guard.
Well, he's either Salty or Farmer Giles.
You see, Salty had a past life as a guard, and then he was reincarnated as a dockyard diesel.
It's the Revenant theory.
Oh god. That wasn't even what I was
Revenant,
referring to, but...
Revenant, like in Doom.
This is the
Like
thing, right? If
ghosties.
Victor Tanzig ever finds the show, he's gonna be like really upset because we spent so much time making fun of him.
I mean, I don't know. Based on, like, the you know, how he reacts to a lot of criticism of his work, I feel like he's the type of guy who, like, you know, he'll just, like, laugh it off and be like, yeah, good banter, mate.
I will
Very good
say,
banter, mate. Yeah, I feel like
like-
he'd be able to take the joke.
as much as I joke about, like, stories of Sodar and stuff, it's like Victor Tanzig isn't a bad guy or anything. None of
Yeah.
it is meant to be personal, like, at all.
It,
And I feel
Yeah.
like I should clarify that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do not have anything personal against Victor Tanzig. I just, you know, I find the stories of Sodor very silly sometimes, but I do not have
Yeah.
any problems with Victor Tanzig as a person.
Yeah, I
me
feel like
neither.
I feel like there's a difference between making fun of, like, fuck Germany and, like, personally targeting him as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time.
Which is why we're gonna start targeting Victor Tanzig as a person instead.
No.
No, we're
Right
not
now, here
doing
we
that.
go.
That's
Let's
the entire
fucking do-
point of... God.
We have fun.
God, for some reason, I just, my brain just made me think of the fucking, like, clip from the VeggieTales Weed Eater episode at the end, where, like, Larry's like, I just wanted to teach the kids, like, something new, and, and Bob is like what? How to make nonsense jokes and be emotionally unstable?
That's just
God.
this podcast.
Yeah. Honestly, that kind of just became the blueprint for my life, really.
Yeah.
No, when I saw it, it was just like, oh, so that's why I'm the way I am.
Did you watch VeggieTales a lot, Mary?
Yeah, when I was younger.
You know, I think it's very funny that, like, VeggieTales is more like overtly Christian than Thomas is.
I mean,
Yeah.
because VeggieTales was specifically made originally as a show that was like sold in Christian bookstores and stuff.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
also like JJ the Jet Plane is somehow more overtly Christian than Thomas.
Yeah, JJ the Jet Plane has
you know-
like a JJ the Jet Plane
Can
has
you
both
please
a
pull
normal
up the
dub
fuck-
and a Christian dub.
What?
Okay, please
JJ
pull
the
up
Jet
the
Plane's
goddamn...
like Christianness is a separate dub.
What the fuck?
Is it?
Yeah,
What the fuck?
it's
Oh my god.
Like, you know, say what you will about, you know, the influence of like Audrey's religiousness on the books themselves. Like, you know, there's a lot to be said about the influence and where it influenced and where it didn't. Audrey definitely did have a sense of humor about his religion, as
Oh, yeah.
indicated by the passage in the Island of Sodor book where just a fucking Protestant pastor comes to like, you know, the stone cross at Crosby and is like, it just gets owned by the people there. Or like the fact that, you know, Teddy Boston, his friend the fat clergyman, you know, had a steamroller named Satan. Like,
Yeah, I
See-
love Satan.
yeah,
Take that out of context as much
Do
as
you?
you like. I love Satan. The steamroller and... Yeah.
you know, say what you will about the influence of Audrey's, you know, religion, but he definitely had a sense of humor about it.
I like the tiny guard in the illustration. Like, I really
Yeah.
like that if you look really, really close, you can just see him.
yeah, he's waving his little flag.
He's got his flag.
I
feel like it might be the same break van you see in Thomas and the Trucks.
maybe,
How it's just
yeah.
got- how it's just
I
got
wonder
the
if James
veranda
is
on the
pulling
line.
the H wagon.
Could be.
God damn it, now I have to add the fucking dancing H somewhere on this image.
It'll be in somewhere.
Yeah. The only thing I have left to say really is this is the first time we see like a runaway train in Thomas, you know, or like,
Yeah.
you know, or a breakaway, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, playing the runaway theme over a car chase.
Me running from the police, like.
O.J. Simpson. Meanwhile, the guard had stopped Edward, who was pulling 3 coaches. "Shall I help you, James?" called Edward. "No, thank you," answered James. "I'll pull them myself." "Good. Don't let them beat you." So James got ready. Then, with a peep peep, he was off. "I can do it, I can do it," he puffed. He pulled and puffed as hard as he could. "Beep, beep, 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 beep. You're doing well," whistled Edward, as James slowly struggled up the hill with clouds of smoke and steam pouring from his funnel.
The first thing I
I
want to say
love this
is,
illustration. James
Yeah.
is like, ah!
Yeah, he's just going, "Ah!"
Yeah.
The first thing I want to say is, why did the guard stop Edward? He's on the other track.
Yeah, I don't understand either. Like, it makes more sense in the adaptation because Edward is like right
Yeah.
behind James, but he's just on the other track here, and we don't even see Edward. We see his coaches. So, like, is Edward hidden behind the trucks? Is he going the other way?
It's
Well, we see Edward.
I can see Edward in mine, and he's behind like a bridge.
Yeah,
Oh.
He's going the
I guess
opposite
it's, like, cut
direction.
off. I guess it's
Yeah,
cut
the-
off in the one I'm looking at.
He's genuinely going the opposite direction to James.
Wow.
I guess maybe they were getting Edward to stop because, like, the guard had to stand near to couple the trucks on. I have no idea.
Maybe he just
Okay.
wanted to know what the hell was happening. Like, oh god, is James doing something again? Yeah.
What's he doing?
I just like the idea. I like the idea that like Edward's just enjoying a leisurely jaunt through the countryside, and then he just looks over and he sees James like slowly backing down the hill with half of his train rolling away, and he's just like, "Oh god, they let James out."
Oh, James.
Avery unleashed him.
James Unleashed, it's like Sonic Unleashed, but you play as James.
Tell them the bitch is back. Okay, the bitch you know as Sparkle is back.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be something James would say. Just like
That it
Yeah.
would be.
full.
The bitch you know as James is back.
I feel like James would call himself Sparkle if he wanted to. Too.
I don't
That's
know.
it. That,
he would
that's
do.
his OnlyFans name.
Off of that, one thing I do like about this page is I do like James and Edward's bit, because like James is like it isn't even like a rude like, no, I can handle this myself. It's just like a, no, I want to try to do this, like, thank you though. And then like Edward's just like completely cool and it's like, all right, do it, good luck.
Yeah, this is positive development for James.
Yeah.
I like this. It's cool.
Yeah,
He's
but
trying
the
to
way
prove
I see it, I just think it's funny that I can't help but feel like Edward's probably just gone, okay, thank fuck for that. There's not really anything I can do anyway. Being on the opposite line.
Well, I mean, in the TV series, he could push him up. I guess.
he could, and I think that like that's something that the show does just a little bit better. But I don't know, it just I think there's just like a sort of hidden layer of joke there that I've tapped in the book.
Also, we didn't acknowledge it when like we saw it more clearly, but the van, like the sad van Arnold lost his face.
Oh, yeah. Shame.
That also happened in Thomas and the Trucks, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, can't be bothered to draw the face behind the James.
The face behind the James.
Everybody who leaves a comment, in your comment somewhere, put rest in peace Arnold, the depressed truck.
The miserable van. There's something I've got to say about it as well, really, and it's like, it's just that James's train is so much shorter now than it was a couple of seasons ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like, holy shit. Not a single blue truck in sight, either.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's all yellows.
God damn.
It's almost like Dolby
And
wasn't a
browns.
consistent illustrator.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, really weird how that happens, you know? It's like, Also, James doesn't really have a front axle here either.
His wheels are just floating there.
It's like
no frames.
it's just what Bash and Dash took inspiration from. They were being Railway Series accurate. They just had nothing connecting their wheels to their bodies.
Have you all seen that like concept art of Gordon for the reboot?
Oh, you mean that storyboard thing?
Yeah, the storyboard where he's
The
like
one where
using his wheels like a hand.
Yeah. Oh, God, that made
That made me very unhappy.
Can I just
That
say
made-
something?
hurt.
What's
I
up, Mike?
fucking love the drawing of Spider Thomas.
I do not. It made me uncomfortable.
It reminds me of that fucking Diesel that, like, they
Diesel
made in
1000?
China. Yeah! That, like,
Diesel 1000, yeah.
I asked
remember.
Liv if it was a real thing once.
Yes, no, I was there at the inception of Diesel
No,
1000.
I mean if it was like a real thing that exists in real life, like each wheel was like powered or something.
No.
Well, you see, it's not powered. They just work like legs.
God.
I've done it! He panted and disappeared over the top. They reached their station safely. James was resting in the yard when Edward puffed by with a cheerful beep beep. Then, walking towards him across the rails, James saw Sir Charles Sprintball's controller was walking. James saw the fat controller. Oh dear! What will he say? He asked himself sadly. But the fat controller was smiling. I was in Edward's train and I saw everything, he said. You've made the most troublesome trucks on the line behave. And after that, you deserve to keep your red coat. God damn, that's it?
So, like, did Edward just flip around?
Yeah.
I
wanted to
mean,
bring
he was
this up
traveling
before.
down. Okay, I have a whole fucking like thing in my
Yeah,
notes.
like, this is
about
Wellsworth.
So James just climbed up Gordon's Hill, but now we see him at Wellsworth, the bottom of Gordon's Hill. So, like, did
Well,
he
yeah,
make
but-
it all the way to Vickerstown and then come all the way back?
Yeah, it took James a really long time to get that train back over the hill.
So
This is
then,
the
like,
thing. James is so incompetent. They were pulling him him down the hill when there wasn't actually a hill to pull him down.
also, I just noticed looking at this illustration, the track layout here is the same as the original version of Thomas the Tank Engine, with like the
Yeah.
big old
Oh,
point
cool.
curving over the middle track. Which,
Why
honestly,
is
now that
Edward
I'm looking
doing
at it
that?
in this context, that does look like it could be a little bit dangerous if there's like, you know, an engine crossing over that track while another engine needs to go over that line. And
Yeah,
can't
but
stop.
I mean, I'd imagine that like signalmen and such probably wouldn't allow for that.
Yeah. But, you know, accidents tend to happen on Sodor. I feel like
So,
if
like-
this was like, you know, if you were trying to make this kind of arrangement work in real life, you'd need like multiple switches to like, you know, one switch to get to the other line, and then another switch after that to get into the yard. Probably.
So, like, can we just kind of talk about the fact that there's some practically fucking narrow gauge trucks in the background there?
Yeah, you know,
Perspective.
yeah, you know, maybe this is the first time maybe this is supposed to be the first time we see Croven's Gate. Rafflecopter.
Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh,
Also,
swoosh,
like-
swoosh, swoosh, swoosh.
I may be wrong. It looks like they ripped up the tracks to that back shed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to look like that, but it
We'll
do
never
be
know.
Dolby.
Really do be Dalby.
I have two really small things about this page.
That's
One,
alright.
the ending's cute. Like, I like Edward and like the Fat Controller like congratulating James and like
Yeah.
like the Fat Controller being fair and not like, oh, you lost half your trucks, fuck you, is nice.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you did really well despite the shit that happened to you.
Yeah. I
Well
like that.
done.
You know, good job, bitch.
Also, the ending is a little abrupt, though. Realizing, like,
Yeah.
especially reading, just like where you're like, and after that, you deserve to keep your red coat, and then it's just like, is that it? Also,
Yeah.
in the TV,
Once again, returning to that kid who never gets resolution on the stories.
I guess this is more of an ending than like the first stories, but not by much. And in the TV series, when Edward comes by here, he has two trucks and a brake van. So it's like,
Yeah.
was the Fat Controller just in the brake van or something?
Yeah, he was just hanging out with the guard or something.
Yeah. You know,
See,
Sir Topham Hatt the First was like, you know, a railway worker before he came into his position of power. So, you know, maybe he's just trying to like, you know, reacquaint himself with what it's like.
See, I may be wrong, but I don't think you actually see what Edward's pulling in the TV series. So I always assumed that it was like the Fat Controller was on Edward's train. It's just that it had been a while and Edward was taking some trucks at the moment.
Ah,
Yeah, I could see
Maybe,
that.
that
but-
makes sense.
I mean, you do see Edward pulling away with the trucks.
Yeah. Honestly, my first thought always when I was like younger was just that like Edward or James just for whatever reason like left two trucks or something and Edward took them back over. But like that doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah,
But
it doesn't make much sense.
here's the thing.
That would be funny though.
I was like fucking what, like 6 when I got the James Learns a Lesson DVD at the oldest, so
Did James learn a lesson?
no,
Yeah, not here. Here
maybe.
you can like just see one of the trucks.
Oh,
that was
right,
pulled.
okay.
Oh yeah, huh. I guess they just really needed 2 empty trucks at Wellsworth or something.
Yeah.
Might have
Even though,
Why
like,
didn't they
logistically
could've just
speaking,
given them-
Wellsworth is the other way.
Wait, I thought they stop at Wellsworth when he gets over the hill.
They do in the book,
Stop
but
at Marin.
in the TV series they stop at Marin.
Is Marin where it's supposed to be, or?
Marin is supposed to be the top of the hill.
But the
Marin isn't the
the hill,
bottom of the hill?
the hill goes down in the TV series.
Yes, in the TV series, like, you know, I'm thinking railway series here. Shifting gears is hard sometimes. Fuck.
Wait. Okay, so, like...
Because, like, railway series
Thomas and the
Gordon's Hill
Trucks.
is one-sided.
Maps are weird. I want to move on to rankings. This stuff
Yeah,
makes my
sure.
head
I
hurt.
feel like-
No.
Oh, do you have something to say?
Thomas and the Trucks, yeah. Thomas is coming from Vickerstown. So, he'd still be going up Gordon's Hill. But when he goes down the hill, when the trucks, like, push him down, he stops at Wellsworth.
I don't
Is that...
I don't think he even really goes up the hill, because when I know it's like Gordon's Hill is really steep on the side from Wellsworth to Marin, but it's not really steep at all on the other side.
Yeah, it's, you know...
Well, I mean, it's still... yeah, but, like, it's still a hill that he goes up. They came to the top of the hill where Gordon had stuck.
Yeah, like, like, that makes sense, because, like, the top of the hill, like, you don't... Since the rest of the Sodor is just kind of plateaued from, like, that point until Gordon's Hill sloped down, I think that still qualifies the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Have you all ever watched Spy Kids 3, but only when they say the guy?
No.
No, but I've seen the bit where Elijah Wood says cake and dies.
Should we move on to rankings? Because I
Yes.
don't have the energy for maps.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I will grab first say with my bare hands because, I can't think of a good justification. I like this story, but it is just kind of like, okay, you know, it's not like, you know, the most exciting Thomas story, but it's, you know, it's good. I like it. I'll give it a Percy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, I have in my notes Percy. It's fine, which is how I feel about this. It's like, it's not enough to where I'd call it like completely average, because it's like there is good. It tells a story. It's fine. Like I feel like that's really all I have to say about the story. At the end of the day, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it like around a Percy or a Toby, so I'll just say Percy to keep it consistent. Because, like, I think it's probably one of the best stories in this book, but that's not really saying much. Like, I enjoy a lot of the things this story does. Like, I enjoy the fact that James is really determined to, like, get the job done. I enjoy his interactions with Edward. It's just not all that great of a story.
There's nothing here, honestly.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just kind of, you know, James does his best, thing happens, James keeps doing his best.
I think this book ultimately does show that it was good that Wilbert stopped writing when he stopped having ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah? Because
Yeah.
maybe in a way, we probably would end up getting stuff that would have been a little bit like Chris's stories.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
But more interesting.
Honestly, for me, this is, like, obviously above, like, Chris's stories, but it does give me a lot of the same feelings as, like, after I listen to one of those or something, where it's just, like, usually just, like, that was okay. Because it's, like, some of
Yeah.
Chris's stories are offensively bad, like Deep Freeze, but, like, most of them are just, like, that was fine.
Thomas and the
Everything's
Evil
fine.
Diesel is like his best story.
I feel like there are a couple Chris stories that I think are, like, you know, pretty good, but, you know, they're I feel like they never really reached the peaks of Audrey Sr.
Yeah, they There are no tenders for Henry.
Yeah. So, what's your ranking, friend Andrew?
I would say Percy. Yeah, conformity. Nah.
Peer pressure.
Out of this book so far, it certainly is like the most complete feeling story. The most.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Because, hooray, we get an actual conclusion that we don't need another entire ass story to reach.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think most of what we'll have to say about it does just sort of reflect what everyone else has said, that it's just sort of like thing happens and James does it. James is really cool, swag money 100, and then the Fat Controller tells him exactly that at the end of the story.
Good for him.
It's
My fucking god, this bitch is James. Good for him. Good for him.
It's
James, he cooed. There is no escape from my son. You can't hide forever.
God. It's kind of funny that the last book has a lot more of like an overarching character arc with Thomas, yet its stories managed to have better conclusions than like its each individual story had a better conclusion than anything in this book.
Yeah, I mean, if I were reading this, after reading the first two and hadn't seen the rest of the Railway series, I'd honestly wonder if Thomas the Tank Engine, the book, was just, like, a fluke in terms of writing quality, because, like, the stories in, like, the previous book were, like, they were fine, Thomas the Tank Engine was really good, and this book is just kind of mid, so, like, I have to wonder if that was a fluke, but since I know that the next story that's coming up is also very, very good, it's... I guess at this stage in development, you have to wonder if the common denominator is Thomas, but I feel like that might be a bit reductive. Because we also know that the development of this book was strained a bit, so...
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I think if Audrey would like had the time he needed to like properly develop a new set of ideas, I think he really could have done a really good like book about James.
Yeah, I mean, every story we see about James in from I guess the next big James story we see after this is I mean, I don't know if I count Tenders and Turntables, since that's, about all the big engines, I guess, but,
Doubleheader?
Dirty Objects. I think that's the first,
Yes!
really,
Yeah, that
really
one's
good
good.
James story. And, after that, I feel like most of the stories revolving around James are, really, really good. So,
All two of them.
maybe that is kind of telling about James as a character, where his most interesting stories tend to be the ones where he's the villain.
I mean, this is the thing. James is the main villain of Tale of the Brave, and it's like...
Yeah.
It's amazing. I feel like James is the kind of character where he works really well in stories, but you kind of need to use his character, whereas it feels like ironically this book doesn't really know what that is yet.
Well, yeah. To be fair, this is the first time Audrey's trying to actually write James, as opposed to him just showing up as a surprise twist, and he has maybe one line. So
Yeah.
it's
Him showing up and getting his ass kicked.
yeah, it's I feel like early installment weirdness would be a good phrase to ascribe to this.
Yeah, I guess it's
Yeah.
he gets Thomas's character pretty well down, even from the first story.
I think that might have just been down to him having more inspiration when coming up with Thomas compared to James.
Yeah, I think probably this I don't know for sure on this. He probably took a lot of inspiration from Christopher at the time for Thomas.
Yeah.
Because he was essentially Christopher's character, and I'm sure for when he was writing him, he was really looking towards his son, and probably even some of his other kids. to really be like, okay, how can I characterize this little engine? And that's kind of where Thomas probably came from. But with James, it's like,
Yeah.
he had to develop the character wholly from scratch, and he didn't really have the time to get it to the point where he'd be happy with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely feels like this book was more approached from like, what are possible stories for like an engine? It's like, he breaks the brake pipe, yeah, and the fat guy's hat gets wet, yeah, and Gordon being a dick has been in the past 2 books, so like throw in a story with that, and
I
trucks
like
are
that
things
Gordon
of
being
that.
an asshole is the most consistent thing in these stories so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, I guess it feels like it was probably approached from, like, the, like, story, like, ideas first, and then trying to figure out James, which, like, I do think kind of backfired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as kind of like, things happen as the story was, I definitely say it was an improvement upon the last 2 in this book.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like
Oh,
Andrew said,
definitely.
it's an actual complete story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I am curious to see how the next story we're going to tackle will stack up with this, which is, of course, James and the Express.
I'm so excited for James and the
Which I
Express.
accidentally
I
took
am-
notes for this story.
Well, now that means you don't have to worry about taking notes for it next time.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Doing your work ahead of time. Good job.
You're doing
I'll
your
do
work
my
ahead of
homework
time.
later
The only
tonight.
issue is you're not doing the work that was set for earlier.
Or my actual
Yeah.
school homework.
So, yeah, I guess we've reached the end of the podcast episode.
So we have.
No, 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 shh.
So, I guess we'll see you next time on the next episode. Yeah, that's the
Bye,
conclusion of the
everyone.
episode.
We
Goodbye.
Bye.
we don't have that crazy of an outro today, but it's not that crazy of a story, so that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
So
It's fine.
see you.
Yeah,
See,
the
see you-
most
see
the
you in-
most craziness we get is the guard being brave and carefully and cleverly making them
He
stop.
was very brave.
Yeah.
See
I enjoyed it
you on
more
the next
when we
book
had
club,
up-
everybody. See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you next time, everyone.